So let's talk about the culture of breaks. So I've had friends who will clock out for lunch, but they're still out on the sales floor helping customers because they don't want to lose a sale or there's a big event and you have to hit that goal. Personally, I have waited to use the restroom. I didn't realize that I hadn't used the restroom for the entire day, the entire shift until I get home, and you don't think about it. You haven't gone to the bathroom all day, which sadly, I didn't drink enough water to even make a difference. But then, you're not eating. You can't step away because if you did, you would sacrifice the goal. And every client and every number, every moment at the counter during an event is so important. Sorry. It's discontinued. Well, hey, my retail warriors, retail family, and the customers who love them. Welcome back to another episode of Sorry, It's Discontinued. I'm so glad you're here with me. Now, I want to ask you something. Working in retail, one of the things that a lot of people take for granted or don't appreciate, or they appreciate it a lot. The question is, do you actually take your break? Do you take your break? Or do you clock out for lunch, but still stay on the floor just to make sure you don't miss a sale? This is something I have done before, but I know a lot of people who do it. Maybe you've only taken 10 minutes of your lunch out of the 30 or out of the hour, and you'll just hang out on the floor just a little longer, even though you could really use a break. I know plenty of friends in retail who do both. And I might have taken too long of a break or just the right amount of time, or I just didn't take a break at all. And the truth is, in retail, breaks have always felt like an afterthought, in my opinion. It's not a gift of rest, but a lot of times it almost feels like a bargaining chip or just a way for the store to keep you on the floor just a little longer, just to make sure that they're not losing payroll because you dared to eat your lunch or you stepped away for a little bit. But I think we've all experienced it in retail, regardless if you're on the sales floor or you're in the back of the house. A lot of times you'll put the store's needs ahead of your own. But you think after the recession, after COVID, after everything retail has been through over the last 10, 20 years, companies would really value breaks. But do they? There are some stores that maybe it's better. Maybe there's been some progress. But let's be honest. Has it gotten that much better? Depends on the brand, the stores, the companies you work for. But do you really recognize how you need to advocate for yourself to take your break and the value and benefit a break has for you? Let's talk about the culture of breaks. So I've had friends who will clock out for lunch, like I said, but they're still out on the sales floor helping customers. They don't want to lose a sale, or there's usually a big event and you have to hit that goal. Personally, I have waited to use the restroom. I didn't realize that I hadn't used the restroom for the entire day, the entire shift until I get home and I'm almost going to pee myself because it was so bad. I've done that before, and you don't think about it until it's like, shit, I haven't gone to the bathroom all day, which sadly, I didn't drink enough water to even make a difference. But then, you're not eating. You can't step away because if you did, you would sacrifice the goal. And every client and every number, every moment at the counter during an event is so important. And management, bosses, they make sure that you know that. So I've actually had friends that not only missed their breaks for a lot of the week during a huge event week, but didn't even go to the doctor when they were sick because they had to hit the goal. It was more important. Taking a break? Yeah, right. And what happens in the long run, they ended up more physically ill. But then at what cost? One of my friends, who's such an incredible human and one of the hardest working individuals I've ever met, she even lost some of her hearing due to not going to the doctor because she had an ear infection. She had to make sure that her brand was hitting the goals during an event and that her clients were all taken care of. So, in order to achieve the goal and make sure her bosses and her brand was happy, she sacrificed literally her hearing. She did not take a break. And she regrets it. We've talked about it. Working in retail and events and working for very demanding bosses and companies and brands, they have to hit the mark. But you sacrifice so much when you drink the Kool-Aid, you know? I've done it a lot too, where I put what they need first ahead of my own mental health, physical health. And it caught up with me after 25 years working in retail and beauty and cosmetics. Putting what you need first, you have to take breaks. So when you are under that amount of pressure, it's no wonder that we all get tired. We all get burnt out, especially when you don't put breaks as a priority. Make it almost like an appointment for yourself. No, I'm sorry, Linda. I can't do your makeup from 2 to 3. I'm going to lunch. I started telling my clients, this is my break time. You can come before or after. No, I'm sorry. If you want to come a little bit, 15 minutes early, I won't be there yet, but you're more than welcome to sit and wait for me. I did start doing that in the last few years because it's important. And the clients that I worked with, they recognized that and they wanted me to have my break. And so that really did start to change things for me personally. But I do think as a whole, give or take, things have changed somewhat, especially after COVID. But like I said, it depends on who you work for and what brands. And of course, if your management team is supportive of breaks. A lot of times they are because they can't go over budget. But do they make sure that you're clocked out and not working? That is something I don't think that they do. And of course, it's not their job to babysit you, but they want to make their goals. So do they really watch all of that, aside from the other billions of things that they're doing? But you have to understand when you clock out, but you're still working, you are giving away your power. It's not a break. That's you working for free. So let me ask you, does the company you work for deserve that much love? Do they think about you when they go home at night? Do they love you and want to make sure your well-being is valued and you're supported, you have everything you need, tuck you in at night? No. Personally, I don't think they do. That's my opinion. What do you think? So who deserves the love? Who deserves the break? You do. Working in retail, you have to be your own advocate. And you have to be fucking selfish. Yes, I use the F word. You have to be selfish because you deserve it. Like I said, I have fallen into this category. When I was younger, I really wanted to prove to the world where I worked that I deserved to be there. But damn it, Younger Hill. Hey, Younger Hill, you absolutely did. Looking back, I wish I would have recognized that I always deserved to be there. I was a hard worker. I was loyal. I was great at customer service. I still am. Not to toot my own horn, but I love people. So to stop and use the restroom, say, hey guys, I know my client's coming, but I really got to go pee. Or go get something to eat and take my hour or my 30 minutes. There were times, and it's so sad, But when I was pregnant, I would put the store first ahead of my own needs and my baby's health. What the heck? Thank God for my work besties, all of my work friends and family who were always looking out for me and me vice versa for them. Hey, you need to get your ass off the floor. You haven't taken a break. It's frickin' 5. You've been here since 9. Go sit. I'll watch the counter. Yeah, you deserve a break. Okay, let's be honest. We all know someone who takes just a little extra time in the back. Maybe a little long lunch. I thought they were supposed to come back at 2. They leave the floor. It seems like they're maybe gone a little longer than an hour or so, and they leave the team in charge of everything. It's basically a no call, no text situation. It happens. I get it. I've taken longer breaks, but I always let my team know I'm running late. The server brought our food a little late if I was out at a restaurant or I had an appointment. But a no call late to the party situation, that's just annoying. I have taken longer breaks, but I always let my team know I was running late. I'm sure everybody out there, you guys all let your team know if you're running late. It's you being your own advocate too. It's recognizing it first before somebody calls you out on it. And I usually like to call myself out on my mistakes before somebody else does. And then if you have a close work family, you've built up this team where you guys can look out for each other. They'll look out for you. And you look out for them. That way you can, help each other. So I know break culture can seem like drama at times too, because we're depriving ourselves and then our teammate is really good at being selfish and they take very long breaks. And then there's all this gossip and people talking about each other behind their backs. But that's just so stupid. Like, just talk to each other. Like, hey, man, I needed an extra 15 minutes. You're the one not getting paid anyway if you're clocked out. But no time fraud. You don't want to go that road. All right. So now let's talk about the actual break room. Because in some stores, the break room, it feels decent. It's spacious. More often than not, it's very clean. You walk in and it's got more than one microwave, which is magical, especially if they're all working. The vending machines, they actually work and they have a great selection of really good different snacks that are not expired. What about a huge fridge? So there's room for everybody's lunch, and maybe even a cake if you bring a cake for somebody's birthday. Or what if there's 2 refrigerators if the store is that big? What if there's soap and water to wash your hands? It's beautiful. Best is when you have a sink that drains. It sounds silly, but a lot of times when you go to the break room, because there's so many people using it, the sink will not drain and it gets clogged. Ugh, it's disgusting. Another wonderful perk of a great break room, you have paper towels. Endless paper towels. I would take breaks at this great break room. I loved it. There were paper towels on all of the tables, and you basically had 2 long tables put together, different rows, and each of those tables had a big ass roll of paper towels. I'm telling you, it was just the most beautiful sight. You walk in, see those paper towels, fresh soap. Oh, I just loved it. And then, if you're really lucky and it's a magical break room, it can transport you if there's a window. Oh, yeah. I love a window. I know you like a window, but I know a lot of break rooms out there. So you guys are not getting the opportunity of sitting in a break room with a window. You're stuck inside a freaking store for 35 to 40 hours a week, and there's no window. But when there's a window and you get a little bit of sunlight, you can even watch if it's raining. Truthfully, it's like therapy for your soul in that 1 hour or 30 minutes, depending on how long your break is. But then there are the other break rooms. I have experienced a lot of break rooms. I'm trying to think, how many break rooms have I experienced? I had Foley's, I've had Dillard's, I had Saks, I had Neiman's, Nordstrom. I think that's it. Other than my other little small like coffee shop, small jobs. I worked at a baker's shoe store, but a lot of these stores, their break rooms were really more like a dungeon. No windows, just fluorescent lights that give you a headache, old couches that look like they have literally been in a tornado with grease spots and you don't even want to know what could be in there. And I'll never forget this one store. True story. I can still see it. It had this really ugly kind of yellow lime green paint on the walls. It was a one long room. And when you walk in, it had like one vending machine, one little table with a microwave, and I think one small fridge. It was very tiny. Maybe 12 people could sit in there at one time. And if you look on the wall where this ugly lime yellow color was, next to the chairs, next to the tables, there were grease spots on the wall where people would rest their head because they were so tired during their break. And you could see these little grease circles all across the wall on both sides. Oh, yeah, good times. Just made you want to just sit there and just look at those greasy spots. it was pretty bad now that I think about it. I don't know why they didn't just paint over it, but budget, timing, and also people, they just don't care when the company doesn't care for them, right? So I don't know, priorities. But don't get me started on, especially when COVID was going on and there was a limited supply of soap and paper towels. Or what about when the microwave is broken? Yeah, that just sucks. No microwave or a fridge that really doesn't cool anything down. So a break room, that's the one place where we're supposed to recharge, but it's often the last place on the company's priority list. So finding a space to get away, it can be a struggle. And so then you take a break and you go and eat with friends every day because you don't want to go to the break room. That can get so expensive eating out. So packing your lunch is always better. But then if you don't feel like you have a clean space to go and recharge, then the alternative is going and picking up food. I liked packing, but sitting in break rooms, I would have to mentally prepare myself. And that's why a lot of times I would go and sit in my car, which was not safe. And of course, you could bring your headphones or your AirPods or what have you, but there's a lot of other challenges with the break room. My biggest pet peeves is the consideration or lack thereof of people sharing a break room. You have people that might brush their teeth, which, okay, hey, dental health. I'm a big advocate. I love it. But maybe going and doing that in the restroom, that might be better. But I've seen people brushing their teeth or flossing in the break room. Just a little gross, in my personal opinion, or warming up really stinky food like your fish, or burning popcorn. Popcorn on the break. Yay. But when you cook it in a break room, ooh, no. Or worst is somebody wanting to play the television so loud. It's so loud that you can't hear yourself think. And it's probably the news more often than not, which that can be very sad. So, when you're decompressing in the break room and you've got the news going on, do you really want to go back to the break room? No. Or what about the break room phone call where they're so loud, they really could give a shit if anybody is listening to their conversation clearly because they're in the break room. I mean, if nobody's there, sure, have a good time. Talk your ear off. But a break time when there's other people, you should be more considerate, right? That's my opinion. Everybody deserves to be able to do what they want to do during their break. This is their personal time. But when you're working for a company and you're in a break room, you have to have consideration that everybody deserves some quiet during their break. You don't know what kind of day they've had, what day they're going to have. You don't know how many days they've worked straight, if there's a stretch going on in their life. That's my opinion. I'm curious, what do you guys think about break room etiquette? Are there things that people do that really bother you during a break in the break room? All right, so I want to get into companies and break rules. I find this so fascinating because even in the biggest companies, the rules regarding breaks, it can feel very inconsistent, especially in Texas. At some places, if you work a full 8-hour shift, you might get 2 paid 15-minute breaks and an unpaid 30-minute lunch. If you work 6 hours and you get one 15-minute break and one 30-minute lunch, then I don't know. That actually is not horrible. If you're only there 4 to 5 hours, maybe you get just that one quick 15-minute break. That's pretty typical at stores like Target and other, big retailers. We talk about breaks and like they're only about money because if you don't take your break, the company has to pay you. So isn't it ironic, don't you think, that they want you to take your break, but they want you to get all your work done and achieve your goals? I mean, really, who is keeping an eye on this? Because clocking out and continuing to work, it's very common in retail. But being compensated for the work you're actually doing, it should be a non-negotiable for you. You have to make break your priority because in places like Texas, there is no state law requiring employers to give you meal or rest breaks. Let me say that again. In places like Texas, there is no state law requiring employers to give you meal or rest breaks. And under federal law, it's the same. Isn't that crazy? The only guarantee is if your store offers a short break, like a 5 to 20 minutes, it has to be paid. And if you're on a 30-minute lunch, it can only be unpaid if you're completely relieved of your duty. So if you're clocked out, but you're still helping a customer, that technically counts as work. But here's the bigger picture. Taking a break, it's not just about getting paid. You're protecting your mental health. What's so crazy is that more than half of American workers skip lunch on busy days, which that's what I would do. That's what my coworkers would do, my friends, my account executives, managers. I'm sure the store managers do it because they feel pressure to keep working because they have to hit the goal. But if you think about that constant grind, it it adds up, you guys, and it takes a toll. That's why taking a break really helps fight against burnout. Research shows that even a short 5 to 10-minute pause truly can boost your energy. It helps improve your focus and, of course, reduces mistakes. It gives you a minute, right? It takes you out of what you've been so focused on and then a little breathing room. But something as simple as natural light and a break space like a window, it's been shown to lift a mood and reduce fatigue. It makes you feel good. I mean, nature, it's the best therapy, right? Even living in a big city. So you deserve your break. Your time is valuable, but also your peace of mind. Breaks aren't wasted minutes. And then when you go back to the counter, when you go back to your boutique, when you're back in the store, the clients, your bosses, they'll recognize that you're recharged and they'll appreciate it because they want what's best for you. I think. At least the customers do. Yes. What do you think? So, why should companies care? Why should breaks be important to corporate, to the brands, to the stores? If any corporate ears are listening, this is bigger than compliance. It really is. Because when companies invest in their people, and I think this has been researched time and again, it really literally pays off. A Harvard Business Review study on Johnson & Johnson's wellness program, it found that they saved money and actually got $2.71 back for every dollar they invested. And the McKinsey Health Institute, everybody knows the McKinsey Health Institute, right? I've never heard of it. But they estimate businesses worldwide could unlock 3.7 to 11.7 trillion in economic value by taking workforce well-being seriously. That's about $1,100 to $3,500 per employee every single year. Breaks, it's important. And sometimes it doesn't even take millions. It's as simple as like a clean chair, clean wall, a nice table, paper towels, a clean fridge that works, a little window, soap and water, and a sink that drains. But it's really the fact that the company is focusing on the break room, the importance of breaks, saying, hey, your well-being, it matters here. And those small things, it can change the whole atmosphere of the store. It changes the energy, literally. It just makes it better. So let me bring this back to you. Do you take your break? Are you good about taking your break consistently? Do you like to go to the break room? Does it creep you out? Do you enjoy it? Do you go sit in your car? How do you actually get to sit and rest? Or are you sacrificing your time just to keep up with the floor, to stay focused because your client is coming? Do you recognize the importance a break is for you and your well-being? I want to hear your stories. I want to know about your break room, if you take breaks, and what that's like for you. Let's talk about it. Send me a message or drop a comment. And I want to hear from you guys, retail family, my retail warriors, and the customers who love them. I don't know. I can't find a right retail warrior, retail family, retail community. It all sounds kind of silly, but it's what we are, right? We all work in retail. And of course, the clients who love them, because I am a customer. I keep buying things at Sephora and I'm going to make an episode about the Neiman Marcus Dallas store. It was incredible. God love that store and the people who work there. It's just so beautiful. If you get a chance, you need to go. That's a great place to take a break. You got to go to the Neiman Marcus Dallas store. Take a break. Go there. Send me a message or drop a comment if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that's weighing on your mind working in retail, especially right now with everything going on. Next week, I want to get into retail and the toll that it takes on your body. I've seen so many people who have struggled and, you have feet problem, back problems, because even a break, it's not enough to heal the stress that you get from being on your feet, working on concrete, and your back, lower back, standing over clothes, folding, cleaning all the departments. And what about back of house and alterations and working a certain position all day long? All of that stuff, it can affect you and it affects our bodies. These are daily challenges that we experience when we work in retail. So let's get into it next time. I really hope you take care of yourself and remember, kindness is contagious. I love you guys. Bye. Thank you so much for spending time with me behind the counter today. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Sorry It's Discontinued on your favorite podcast app and leave a quick rating or review. It really helps our retail family and fellow customers find the show. You can also connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Sorry It's Discontinued. And if you have your own behind-the-counter story, a discontinued product heartbreak, or a beauty or retail industry confession, send it my way. Your story, it might be featured in a future episode. You can send me a message at sorryitsdiscontinued.com. Now, this podcast, it's independently produced and is not affiliated with any brands or companies mentioned. All stories and opinions shared are personal, reflecting the real-life experiences of those who've worked in this industry with heart and hustle. Thank you for being here. And remember, as cheesy as it sounds, a smile can really brighten someone's day. Honestly, whether you're behind the counter or shopping in front of it. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Sorry. It's discontinued.